For me personally, as half of the main instruction team on Democracy Mind, I've been engaged in activities globally for decades on the question of world citizenship and how you actually live a world citizen life, essentially, which is basically the life that I've sought to live for 4 decades plus. And in this course, we're going to try to impart very practical, concrete ideas of what you can do in your own life, in your own house, in your own street, your own village, your own town, your own country, your own planet, to broaden your own participation in the world as a world citizen. It will be practical. It will be doable. It will not involve, additional finances or anything like that. It's just simple measures you can take, little exercises that we will develop that you can do to really build and make this something tangible that you can grab onto. It's not some esoteric idea. It's been posited for thousands of years. It's something very real, very practical. If you just look at the European Union now compared to what the European continent was in the previous thousand of years, constant fighting, constant killing, constant disease, constant poverty, and what the European Union has become, it's that sort of development, improved, of course, that we are pushing for in this course. So go from total chaos and carnage for thousands of years to some semblance of unity, and then what even comes next? And there's a lot of evidence across the world that we're much closer to a world of world citizenship and global governance than meets the eye.
Yeah, thanks for that, Scott. That's really kind of, for me, it's highlighting what science has taught us. Like, psychology's been around for 150 years.
Yeah.
By far the youngest and newest of sciences. And we haven't really yet come to an agreement about what we're actually studying. Is it a mind? What's a mind? Is it a brain? Well, how does a mind and a brain relate? We're starting to ask those questions. And the science underlying psychology of the last 40 or 50 years has given us a hell of a lot of information. And so what we're trying to do in this course is bring some of that knowledge to the students to help people understand a concept that's been around for a long time, but it's becoming increasingly more nuanced. And that's just self-awareness. Might call it reflective functioning. We call it mentalization, but it's just being aware of what's happening in yourself, why is it happening? And the skills that we're really working on in this course is the capacity for people to track themselves, recognize, and to make choices about how they respond. One of the important things that we're not emphasizing in psychology enough at the moment is how much, as individuals, we emerge from systems. We emerge from family systems. We emerge from local community systems. We emerge from religious systems. We emerge from national systems. These kind of structures that we all grow up in and we all derive our language from, because our language is defined by these systems. We kind of live these things out without really being aware about how they impact on us emotionally, psychologically, developmentally. And that's what we're really wanting to impart in this course, giving you a real sense of why we're all doing what we're doing. And if we can do that in a way that isn't about shaming, it isn't about guilting, it isn't about punishing or judging, it's about something we call phenomenology. It's about recognizing and being able to name the experiences as they emerge.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to convey in this course, how the personal and the political interact in order to do something very different in the next generation.
Right.
And put an end to the insanity that marks this species for the 14,000 or so years that we've been living in towns and cities, and on top of the 200,000 years that we were simply surviving in nature.
That's right.
As one of many, many different species. This new movement into urban life is so new.
Absolutely.
and our
And
brain's not adapted to it.
that's right. And, it's very useful to recall that our species is plus or minus 200 or 300,000 years old. We've only had nation states for less than 400 years. And we've only had, loose groupings of nation states in the form of a union, the European Union, et cetera, for, dozens of years. So there's nothing stopping us from building something even better, right? There's nothing at all that impinges the possibility of envisaging that more unified future. If you even look just at the United Nations, to make it really practical, before the United Nations, there was the League of Nations. When the United Nations came into existence in 1945, it was 50 nation states that formed it. 80 years later, there's 193 member states of the United Nations, 143 brand new countries with sovereignty that did not exist when this organization was founded. So, building on that, what comes in the next 40 years? What comes in the next 80 years?
It's how individuals sort of ascribe identity, isn't it? Like identifying with a nation, identifying with values. It creates something for the individual
Sure.
to be part of something else, but none of it's done reflectively.
Well, and it's almost always done in response to oppression, right? So the reason you form a nation state is to, try to get out the guys that were oppressing you, and then build up walls and barriers and procedures to stop them from doing it again, and acting on your fear and building that structure. But once it becomes stable, once it becomes clear that your neighbors are no longer your enemies, it becomes much easier to align with them and act collectively and cooperatively. And that's the point that we have to really, emphasize, that there's nothing inevitable about armed conflict. There's nothing inevitable about poverty. There's nothing inevitable about having weapons that can wipe out the entire human race. There's nothing inevitable about climate change or any of the other problems. These are human created problems based upon human choices. And we can also choose to say, guess what? Tomorrow, I am going to not see the world as just my country. I'm going to see the world as it is, as one entity comprised of 8.2 billion humans.
And I can change myself. I can change my biology. I can change my psychology to recognize that is a happier, safer, more trusting place to be, and ultimately a more productive place to be.
No doubt.
Because a brain that experiences trust and safety is a brain that's more likely to work to its full potential in this lifetime.
Right. And it's important to point out, a lot of people have a fear that if we unify more and if we merge our cultures more, that we're inevitably going to lose the elements of life that define us, And nothing could be further from the truth. If us being Australians now, there's nothing to stop us being Australians in a world that is fully unified under the same political system.
And you can still respect your own cultural traditions.
Absolutely.
You're Dutch or you're American. Right. I've got my Welsh, and
That's right.
We don't have to do away with it.
Yeah.
It's about honouring it, but I don't have to hate you.
Absolutely.
Because historically something's happened.
We're just adding a layer. We're not taking anything away. We're adding a layer of complexity. All of us can be so many things simultaneously. You can be a brother, you can be a father, you can be a son, you can be a mentor, you can be a teacher, you can be a worker, you can be a runner, all at the same time, completely consistent.
And we're providing the skills.
That's right.
As well as the theory and the concepts, but we're providing the skills to achieve that.
Yeah. And, I'm pretty confident that a lot of people, if not all the people that take this course eventually will, really see those practical benefits. It might not happen overnight, but there's going to be so many things that they learn that will hopefully yield those Satori aha moments. Oh, now I get it. I've always been interested in this idea of, yes, I'm a world citizen, but I never really knew what to do about it and how to live my life that way. And hopefully we'll come up with lots of ideas and practical things they can do to join that.
A world without fear, a world without hatred, a world that is about collaboration, cooperation, growth, building.
Right. Yeah.
8 billion brains get to optimize.
It's a lot of brains.
They get to optimize.
Just imagine the parties. Just imagine the parties.
The creativity,
the
innovation, the technology.
Right. And what if we had, just for instance, a very practical thing, what if we all know Christmas, we all know the Olympic Games, we all know Eid, we all know all of these other religious holidays. What if we just had one holiday celebrating our existence as humans on this one solitary outpost
Humanity
in
Day.
space? Whatever we want to call it, we can have a contest.
Yeah.
But what if we had that day? Everyone took off work, everybody focused on whatever, planting 10 trees, whatever it may be, and then thought about the simple things that we all share, and then hopefully the next year's better than this one, and on we go.
Fantastic.